Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Trade Ideas Pre-Market Show for Wednesday, February the 1st. My name is Barrie Einarson, moderator of your trading room. Couple of yeses to let me know you can hear me and see my screen. Thank you, William and Keith. Well, I'm exhausted. What a morning already. My goodness. So AI, anything AI in the name, and now sports. So MSGM, I'm sure most of you have seen this one already. Looked like it was over and done with yesterday. I mean, it got up to $27, closed at 21. But not in the least. Look at this action after or the pre-market got all the way up to $81.47. It may not be over, believe it or not. It may not be over. It hasn't utterly collapsed yet. So I was looking at MGAM, other sports one. I was looking at MGAM, and my feeling is that maybe if it gets over 450 again, as long as MSGM maybe at least maintains its current levels, this might have another go in another low float situation. That is MGAM. And of course, a few weeks ago, quite a few weeks ago, back in August of last year, this got up to 20 odd dollars at 2074. So I'm just going to kind of wait to see if we can get a 450 break on it. And then we had VS. And I know, again, all they got to do right now is just put AI in the press release, to partner with Resolve to bring generative AI, etc., and gamification Okay, so that's what I was saying. We get a combination of sports and AI in the same press release. Not that gamification is exactly the like these other sports companies, but pretty powerful right now, guys. And it really doesn't matter what we think. I mean, these are all low float situations, 1.83 million in the float for VS. I mean, should this go from 58 cents up to $4? Of course not. But it doesn't really matter what we think. Just try to take advantage of it, maybe get the middle two-thirds and move on. So another sports one, EBET, EBET. This is pulled back to 22, 154, another EBET, and another, or a sports, anything with bet now in the name too, SBET. There's another cheap one underneath $1, up 27%. Look at the volume, 3 million, 10 million in the float. Now, believe it or not, there are other things happening. So XM has gapped up. Potential of a buyout, I guess. XM has gapped up. Tremendous run since its earnings. Had earnings on the 26th, after hours on the 25th, but basically the reaction on the 26th. So XM has had a steady climb, and we are Silver Lake intends to propose to acquire Qualtrics. Okay, so I guess SAP has a share in this XM. So that's the news on XM this morning. LI gapped up. So the price headline that I saw was that the other two China players in the EV sector, XPEV and NIO, saw a decline in sales, but LI actually saw an increase. Yeah, so I think so LI delivered 15,000 vehicles, up 23%, whereas I think XPEV and NIO had a decrease. So I think that's the reason why LI has popped and the other two have dropped. Peloton, PTON had earnings. Look at this, guys. PTON had earnings. Nice pop for Peloton, 5%. PTON. Snap had earnings. This was an earnings play on the downside. Snap had earnings. They released after hours. You can see the gap down. And it's kind of maintained its gap down. And it's down 12%. This is a big float, 1 billion in the float. Key area for it to try to hold is Tanacor's psychological number. QNRX. QNRX. Let's see now, this got up to in the pre-market, it got up to 367, so it's had a bit of a pullback. I don't see any reason for this one. I'm trying to see why this one is up. I don't have a specific reason for this one. Ton of volume though. Look at that, 6 million and it's traded 4 million in the float, so about 1.5 times the float. I just can't find a specific reason. Maybe it's a carryover from yesterday, had a nice little day yesterday, but I can't see a specific reason for it. RNAZ, RNAZ, RNAZ. So this, another low float, almost traded half the float, up 38%. Another one, I can't see any specific reason. Here we go, transcode. Yes, I do. Positive preliminary preclinical results. Okay, so I mean, they did have some news. Now, but it's fading now badly. MITQ, another sports. MITQ, another sports company. MITQ announces first esports orders from SNDBX. Another low float, 7.6 million in the float. Now, this is a real sports company, Electronic Arts, been around forever. Gapping down on earnings. So gapping down on earnings, released earnings after hours. That mauve area you see in my 15-minute chart, that's the after hours. Excuse me, of course, in the pre-market is this tan area. Just give me one moment, please. So EA is gapping down on earnings. Edible, EDBL was very active. Let's see if it's maintaining its gains at all. Not at all. Okay. I mean, it popped up to 17. Got to be so careful in these. Received a letter trading higher amid possible short squeeze volatility. Okay. Not a ton of shorts. I mean, 4.2s. Well, it's the float. It's all about the float, 176,000. That's probably about the lowest I've seen. They did receive a letter from NASDAQ regarding listing qualifications also. We talked about VS. Well, I guess I didn't actually mention VS specifically. But another one, guys, another one, generative AI. Generative AI, there's your buzzword. Let's use OpenAI to search for anything that says generative AI. Oh, I guess I did talk about it. And gamification. Yes, I did talk about it. Excuse me. And another one, LPSN. LPSN. See, another PR with latest in generative AI. So that's your key buzzword, generative AI. This is actually not a crazy low float, 70 million in the float for LPSN through the 200-day moving average. Meanwhile, I know a lot of you are looking at natural gas. UNG, wow, lifetime low now. UNG, what a run this has been on the downside. I know a lot of you have been following this one. Does the AI? No, no, no. The AI, no. You just have to wait for the alerts to happen. This is not like a watch list ahead of time. You know, it's like anything else. It's like, imagine this was the AI, okay? We don't know that VTNR and ADIL, et cetera, LPSN are going to show up in the gap up. Okay, we don't know that. We just have to wait for the market to open. This is the pre-market, of course, and these, so we don't know what symbols are going to show up ahead of time. No. All right, so there's UNG, all-time low. When do they do? Don't they sometimes take these ETFs and do something crazy with them to pop the price up? Do like a forward split or something when they get so beaten up? TBLA, somebody was mentioning TBLA is probably under $1. So I'm not saying it. Maybe. No, it isn't. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, we've tabula, okay? Well, there you go. I mean, guys, this is again generative AI, generative AI. This is your buzzword. So you want to know why it popped? That's why. No other reason. I mean, Michael and I were joking yesterday in our YouTube room. If you've been around long enough, in the late 90s, all a company had, I know it sounds crazy now, all a company had to say is, we're going to have a website on this new thing called I don't even know if they called it the internet then, but we're gonna have a website. And that's all that would happen, all that would it take to make a company pop. So it's the same sort of thing. We're going to look at generative AI. Pop. Yep, it was a crazy time, William. It was definitely a crazy, crazy time. Speaking of which, I know this has been around for a while. I wonder if this will really start to. This is an ETF, AIEQ. It's an ETF. It's been around for a while. I think it's something. I think Michael Noss telling me it's something to do with Watson, IBM's Watson, picking stocks. But AI powered equity ETF. All right, guys, let me take a look, quick look to see what sort of upgrades and downgrades we have this morning from briefing.com. Yes, here they are. Yeah, again, we got more downgrades and upgrades. Let me get a few of them in now. What I'm really looking for is to see if we've got multiple upgrades, whether with one stock that's being upgraded or downgraded by multiple firms. Not seeing anything off the top here, looking at this list. All right, now I'm going to take a look at the downgrades list. See, Snap's got a couple of few downgrades. Snap after releasing earnings last night. I think doesn't Facebook release after hours today? All right, there are some of the upgrades, some of the downgrades. I'm not seeing anything spectacular in either, so I'm just going to get some of these in here, guys, into the rooms. Okay, SYF, I'm hearing, is this an earnings play? SYF? Not an earnings play, but I'm hearing this one, Synchrony Financial, gapping down through the 200-day moving average, actually. Um, I don't see any specific reason for this. A pretty big gap down, almost a half a million in the float. It's down almost 10% for SYF. I thought maybe it might have been an earnings play. Had earnings on the 23rd. Reaction was pretty good. I'm seeing a headline with Ariel. When I'm looking at my headlines for SYF, I don't see anything specifically for SYF, but I'm seeing this. I don't know if that means that is competition coming. That's the problem. So the SPY's in for as we speak, a negative open. Yeah, so it's some kind of maybe, okay, so it is some kind of a financing for SYF, okay? All right, guys, let's take a look at the sectors and see what's happening. So I'm from our toolbar, I'm going to click on New and then Dock Channel Bar, and then click on Show More, and then scroll down until I see sector status. So we're in for a negative open, not a hugely negative, but negative nonetheless. So let's take a look at what the sectors are doing. So these are the major sectors. XLE, the major or the big ETF for energy. So XLE, these are the stocks that make up XLE. So when you see 95% in red, what that means is that 95% of the stocks that make up XLE are down from yesterday's close. And you can see that there is no positive sector. There's not one sector. Tech is like 50-50. And again, let's take a look at how they're performing in relation to their 200-day moving average. So there's XLF. That green line you see in my daily chart, that's the 200-day moving average. Well above it. Retail has actually been strong. Look at this. I mean, retail has been strong. You know, ever since it took out the 200-day moving average, it's been moving up nicely. Healthcare, XLV. I think this one is, yeah, it's above it, but it's close. It's close. It's maybe hard to see on my daily chart, but there's the 200-day. Let me see if there we go. There's the 200-day moving average, so it's a little bit above it. Consumer staples, which was below the 200-day. Actually, okay, yesterday it popped above it again. Consumer staples popped above it again. Now, what happens today? Let's see if it can maintain it, 73.56. So it's just a little bit, it's right at the 200-day right now. Industrials, XLI, well above it. Financials, XLF, another one well above it. Again, guys, you know, these are all pretty significant that most of these major sectors are above the 200-day moving average. Even discretionary, yeah, XLY, right at it, right at it. This was one that was beaten up, of course. People sort of laying off buying things that you may really not need. But look at this, XLB, materials above it. So you know what? I mean, and even, I mean, XLT has been a star in the last few weeks. coming from the abyss, 46 all the way to 54, and now above that 200-day moving average. And then we've got technology, and I think technology is also above it. Yeah, just a little bit above it. So I don't think there's really anything there's nothing significantly underneath the 200-day moving average right now. No sector that is significantly under. Okay, guys, I'm going to try a little experiment today. Okay, so those of you listening to me on YouTube, you're going to have about a minute disruption. What we're trying to do is I'm trying to cut, and there's no way else I can do it. I'm going to try to cut out what I've talked about for the 20 minutes now. So I'm going to stop the feed, and then I'm going to resume it as quickly as I can. Okay. So those of you in YouTube, come back in about a minute, or within a minute. I'm going to start the feed almost immediately, but I have to stop the feed right now.